All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. And right here, right now, we actually have Seattle, Washington's own, man. We actually have DJ Seabefore right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Yes, how you doing?
I have to ask, man, how's everything? How's everything out there in Seattle right now? Because I noticed that, I noticed that a majority of America has opened back up, man. It must feel good to actually getting back to relatively normal life.
So far it's been pretty cool. I dislike the increase in traffic, but other than that, it's not too bad.
But also, Seabefore, I want to take you back to the beginning, man, of your amazing music career, and I have to ask you, man, like, what actually inspired you to get into the music industry initially, man? Because you're such a phenomenal DJ.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Really, what got me into it is I'm by trade a drummer. I started out playing drums, so that got me into the scene when I finished high school. My good friend DJ Surreal hit me up and was like, "Man, I'm trying to put together this project similar to the Roots, and I need a drummer."
And I gotta say as well, like when you started playing drums, have you actually brought that into your production sound as well? Because I do know that you actually do a lot of producing as well.
Yeah, that plays a part, definitely. That's one of the things that I definitely incorporate into my music is bringing that feel of not necessarily real drums, but just like the human error and the human swing of it.
And also as well, man, in 2014, you actually did some phenomenal work on the song titled "Smash" alongside Tyrone. I was wondering how did yourself and Tyrone get connected, and what was it like actually working on that phenomenal joint?
I went to high school with Tyrone, actually. So we met there, and just over the years stayed in contact. And he hit me up for some work on his album, and then put that song together and asked me to do the cuts on that. And I'm actually very proud of my work on that particular song. I was kind of feeling myself on that one.
And I noticed as well that song actually made the 206 Zulu compilation record, man. I was wondering, how did you actually initially join 206 Zulu, and of course, what was it like having your work just on just on their compilation record?
I got involved with that. The Chasm, who runs the chapter, and another individual I ended up going to high school with, and just put in work via the organization. And when it came time for that song got submitted and selected.
And I gotta say, man, not a lot of people, applied to join the Zulu, man, and I think I read that only about 10% of individuals actually get accepted, man. So, it just proves right there that you are the definition of hip hop. Just the fact that you are part of the Universal Zulu Nation.
Thank you, man. I do have to say my involvement with them has pretty much come to an end for the most part, but I still support a lot of those brothers and sisters that do what they do.
And also as well, man, August of 2014, you actually had the opportunity to DJ actually at the Crocodile for legendary hip-hop duo Black Alicious, man. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about that phenomenal event. And of course, did you get the opportunity to kick it with Black Alicious before or after the concert?
I actually got the opportunity to work with them a few different times, and I didn't really hang out with them a lot, but everybody that's involved with them, and they usually brought the Lifesavers from Portland with them, nicest dudes.
And I gotta say as well, it must have been a surreal experience as well as being able to work with them, man. Because I've personally heard that they put on a phenomenal concert.
Yeah, if you had the chance to see Black Alicious live, that was an experience. They would tear it up, and man, rest in peace to Gift of Gab. That was a talented MC when he would come out and do like the alphabet aerobics and things like that, and mind blowing.
And also as well, man, I actually saw a photo on your Facebook of yourself and the legendary Chuck D of Public Enemy, man. I was wondering, can you tell our listeners a story behind that photo, and of course, what was it like? What was it like meeting one of the most famous hip hop artists of all time?
So I went to the Zulu Nation 35th anniversary in New York, and that whole experience was incredibly surreal. Just to be in New York first and foremost, that was not my first trip to New York, but my first trip to New York as an adult, and was able to take in some sights and just to be around so many legends. I got to meet Kool Herc, obviously Chuck D, Grandmaster Cavs, who I unfortunately wasn't able to get a photo with, or our photo got lost. But it was just tons and tons of hip hop foundation in the building at any given time. And one of the nights they had Chuck D performing, and he was amongst the crowd, and I pulled out my camera, and he was gracious enough to take a picture with me, and that's the one you see on my page.
And I gotta say as well, man, that sounds like an absolutely phenomenal event, man. You know, just being in New York, being able to be surrounded by so many hip hop pioneers just under one roof. Like just you telling that story, man, I could just feel the goosebumps on every single hip hop fan's arms just listening to that story.
I mean, I still get goosebumps myself just thinking about the amount of people that I even just got to shake hands with and cross paths with. I mean, to where I actually got to like spin on Jazzy J's setup and use his equipment, because he was the house DJ for the night. You know, I got to meet DMC. I mean, so many people in the building. It's almost too many to even recall at this point, but it was a wonderful event. I wish I could have attended more of those, but just circumstances didn't allow that to happen. But you know, that was definitely if you're a hip hop fan, that's like the you know it's like the hip hop highs, you know, in so many words.
And also as well, man, in 2018, you actually had the opportunity to DJ for Rich Tycoon at Shut Down the Stage up there in Seattle. I was wondering, how did yourself and Rich get connected? And of course, do you guys have any current projects currently in the works right now today?
I don't have anything in the works with Rich at this particular time, but I got connected with Rich through E-Dawg, who is an artist that I DJ for. He's, you know, and that's my big bro, Town OG. And if you remember the drop top, the original drop top, that was he and Rich doing their thing, and then I got the opportunity to be on the Northwest remix that they redid many years later. So yeah, that's how I got connected with Rich, was through E-Dawg.
And speaking of E-Dawg, man, I actually have one of the songs currently in the station's rotation, man. That's actually called Drop Top, the new remix, man, that you're actually featured on alongside him, man. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal collaboration, and of course, where can our listeners actually snag themselves a copy of this particular single today?
You'd have to hit up E-Dawg for that. He has was on his album 45, but just being his DJ, I was able to touch down. But I was up to be amongst so many cats. I mean, especially Mix-a-Lot. That was like, you know, one of my like lifelong goals, being a Seattle native.
And also, as well, I noticed that you actually DJ over on E-Dawg's radio station, E-Way Radio, man. I was wondering, where can our listeners actually check you out on his radio station airwaves?
EasywayRadio.com, the Friday Night Mix. I've had a little setback due to equipment failure. I had the turntable go bad on me, but I'm back up and running, so I'll be having some more new mixes coming soon. But Friday nights at 7 p.m., I believe.
And I gotta say as well, you know what I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to tapping in and checking that out, man. I gotta say, his radio station's absolutely phenomenal. So ladies and gentlemen, you haven't checked out his station, you know what I mean, make sure you slide on over there and hear some of Seattle's finest.
Most definitely.
And also, October 24th of 2020, yourself and Mr. Adrian actually released a phenomenal album titled New Era. I was wondering if you could tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal album, and of course, is there a way for the old school listeners to actually snag themselves some hard copies today?
We don't have hard copies of that, actually. It's all digital right now. We kind of discussed that, but there hasn't really been enough of a demand to make physical copies of it. But if the demand grows, we'll definitely look into printing up some physical copies. But until then, you hit up Mr. Adrian 777 at bandcamp.com and download a copy of that, say what you want, and check it out.
And also, I gotta ask, man, what is next for yourself, DJ Seabefore, man? Is there anything we happen to miss? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? Well, we have you here live on the 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM airwaves.
I got a monthly show on HelloEarthRadio.org called Central Sounds. It's every last Wednesday of the month from 10 to midnight. And the emphasis is on local music, but I definitely will accept submissions from anywhere. But my platform was initially for the local scene and what we got bubbling here. But, you know, I've had so many people outside of the area reach out to me, and I just expanded the playlist to include anybody that's on the underground that wants to get heard. So yeah, Central Sounds, that's my show.
But also, Seabefore, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves. Just a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. But most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything DJ Seabefore if they're not already doing so.
Yeah. Instagram is Seabefore 206, SEABEFORE 206. And also at Central Sounds 206. And then DJ Seabefore on Facebook is DJ Seabefore, SEABEFORE. And that's pretty much it. I'm not super social media active, but I got a little bit of a presence, so definitely holla at me there.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, DJ Seabefore, thank you so much, man, for just taking the time out of your busy evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM airwaves, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. Nothing but love from myself down here in Canada, all the way to you out there in Seattle.
Oh man, bless. I'm definitely honored that you took the time to reach out to me to get me to do the interview. I was looking at some of your lineups, and I'm like, man, I don't even think I'm on the caliber of some of the cats you got on your interview roster. So thank you.
Hey, man, you're most certainly welcome. Honestly, man, I love real hip hop, man, and at the end of the day, that's what you bring to the table, man. So I don't really look at it as, you know, who's bigger or who's smaller, man. If you're hip hop, man.
Yeah, it's all love and it's all culture.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, Seabefore, man, thank you so much again, and most definitely have yourself a wonderful night out there on the West Coast.
Most definitely, man, and man, anytime I'm down to jump on the show and chop it up.
Hey, man, so just let me know, man. Anything you need, we most definitely can make it happen, man. Anything you need radio-wise, we definitely can make that happen.
Oh, for sure. I will be in touch.
Sounds great. Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much again, Seabefore.
Thank you, man.